Good morning and welcome to Happy Trails Hiking. My name is Kay and this is the Healthy Lifestyle Show. Today is Travel Tuesday and I have a very fun guest for you. I'm very excited for you to meet him. But before we do that, let me let you know that this show is brought to you by our photography store, and you can find fabulous photography like that barn back there on happytrailshiking.com/store. My guest today, I met in person while attending the Midwest Travel Network conference in Medora, North Dakota. Jay made each session a fun one, and I could tell from the get-go that he had a big personality. Boy, was I underestimating a big personality, let me just say. On the About section of his blog, the Iowa Gallivant, he says, "This guy has been around, man." Well, Jay's family lived in Grundy Center, Iowa. He was born in Marshalltown back in 1978. Later, Jay and his family moved to Marion, Iowa, and then to Iowa City. In 1999, Jay took off on an 11-year culinary crusade that led him to Arizona, Montana, Cape Cod, the Florida Keys, the Black Hills of South Dakota, Austin, I'm assuming Texas, Central Illinois, and back to Iowa City in 2010. His love of traveling, food, and family will drive this blog. Iowa is an amazing state, corner to corner, and everything between the Mississippi and the Missouri. There's something brewing here in the Corn Belt, USA, and you should come see it for yourself. Guys, please welcome Jay, the Iowa Gallivant, to the show. Welcome, Jay. It's great to see you.
Nice. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I try to be energetic and wonderful. Yeah. We have a awesome room here today, and I do want to say hello to them too. Hopefully you can see some of the comments they're leaving, but guys who are with us live, say hello to Jay, and if you have a question for him, please make sure you put at Happy Trails Hiking so I can see that question, and moderators, maybe you'll help out with that too. But I do want to say hello to Lori Bryant, who is my sister and is also from Iowa. Good morning, Lori. It's great to see you. And she asks, are we all ready for the Roaring 20s? Tanya Lambert is here, as well as the Outdoor Nomad, Inspired John, Marty's Crew, Our Family Adventures, who is listening from the forklift today. He's working and listening. Thanks for being here. Maybe that's it. If you have not said hello in the chat, I would appreciate you doing that. Hit that thumbs up and sharing this out so that more people can come meet Jay. Okay, I've got some questions for you, and we only have a half an hour.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. How did the Iowa Gallivant get started?
Well, we were sitting at a coffee shop in Iowa City, close to my old neighborhood. We had a family scrapbooking project for the summer. I was starting a job later in August, and it was like sometime in July. And I thought, WordPress was just the best way to do it. Wasn't planning to do really much of anything past 2014. And then all of a sudden, people are getting interested in what we're writing about. And it was one of the reasons why is because we were talking about going to small towns. And, one of the first, I would say, like our breakout blog post was about Sebula. And it's Iowa's only island city. And, of course, a lot of people from Sebula loved the article because people were giving them some positive publicity. And then people were like, wait a second, where's Sebula? And then a lot of people are like, Iowa has an island city. And, yeah, people clicked on it. So, yep, and then, boom, we knew we had something.
Awesome. It's really neat when, you're just doing a family project and you're like, wow, people just love this. That's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. And who knew? An island city in Iowa.
Yeah.
You would think, anyway, not too many islands in Iowa.
There's a lot of little islands on the Mississippi and everything and things like that. But that's the only one that has a city on it.
Totally true. Excellent. Well, now I have some place to go and look up because I wasn't that far. Right. All right. You said you went on a culinary crusade and people were interested about that in the chat when that came up. Lori said culinary crusade. What were you looking for on your crusade? And second question to go along with this. What foods did you find that we have to discover?
Oh yeah. So, you know, when I left Iowa in 1999, I wanted to be a cook. Well, I wanted to someday be a chef. And when I left, I got a job at a guest ranch in Wickenburg, Arizona, and I started thinking like I was going to do culinary school. So it was either do culinary school or work around the country with really bad pay with an ungodly amount of hours under great chefs. So I chose that one. So I would have, and then, excuse me, and then I learned just an amazing amount of technique, flavors, and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why I traveled around the country so much is kept wanting to learn more about food, and the different regions all have their different styles, obviously. And so that's how I decided to do culinary school. And when I did that, I discovered I wasn't the only one doing that. I was part of a culture that was going around a lot of seasonal places because, like the guest ranch I just referenced, it was called the KL Bar in Wickenburg. It was only open partial time of the year, and then I'd have to go get a summer job and things like that. So it was like work minimum wage jobs, learning how to, chop onions and slice garlic and things like that. But also, what you really had to do is learn how to wash dishes and learn how to, you have to be a part-time plumber, you have to be a part-time electrician, you have to be a part-time, uh, you know, contractor. When something breaks, you can't just go automatically calling the maintenance person because, that's part of the game too when it comes to restaurant industry. So I work with a lot of awesome scallywags and some great people that taught me how to speak different languages in certain situations and learned all sorts of flavors. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And you went a lot of places and learned a lot of different things, I am sure.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. One of the things that I've found out when I worked well, I worked for some small businesses when I was a teenager, but never well, I was a school teacher after that, but school teachers have to learn a lot of cool things too, like plumbing
Right.
and
Exactly.
random stuff, but not as much as people who are trying to learn and become chefs and things. Speaking of chefs, we have some new folks in the room. Cooking with
All
Kirby
right.
is here, and Cooking with Kirby is a chef, and
All right.
and
Hey, hi,
works
Kirby.
works out in San Diego or out in Southern California anyway. We also have Gemma's Journey Grace, who's from the UK, as well as within hiking distance, budget bushcraft, and RV life, and Marianne Donnelly. So that,
Nice. Hi,
and
everybody. So, but yeah,
guys,
and
go
you
ahead.
told me like, oh, sorry about that. You told me like, what flavors I needed to like, you need to experience and things like that. But it's a lot of the stuff was, gosh, the food that we put out on people's plates was always awesome. But it's what we ate, what we call like a family meal in some restaurants, or this,
Mhm.
the staff meal or whatever. And but mostly it was called family meal. The things we made a lot of times with the render of things, the soups, and everything tastes better in tortilla. It's amazing the tacos that we create. It wasn't even a Mexican restaurant I'd be working at, but we would always have tacos and soups and things like that. That's one of my favorite Anthony Bourdain shows. Is like he goes down to the bowels of a restaurant that he used to work at, and they're having a meal that I probably had 30 times before, actually way more than that. And it was so great to see that because he was like eating things that like with his crew that we used to do all the time when I worked. And the thing is uh, a lot of times we used to joke like if only the customers were eating as good a food as we were on break and things like that. So
Right. That's
like when I first started, very few restaurants had uh, bone marrow as an appetizer or as a choice or as a course. It was a lot of times in places that I worked at is what we kind of like arm wrestled almost for, you know, on our breaks, like who gets the marrow today? Oh no, it's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn. So you know, things like that. And it taught me a lot of like the simplicities of cooking and things like that. You know, before I started this culinary crusade, if you were to ask me about like what's my favorite like my last meal request, it'd probably be like, oh, give me like a 24-ounce porterhouse or something like that. But now
Sure.
it's just like, you know, you give me a wooden cutting board that has had ham carved on it for like 2 hours after Easter brunch, and a pack of
Oh.
dinner rolls and a stick of butter, and I will just scrape that render right off that cutting board for you. You don't even have to clean it when I'm done with it. That'd be my last meal request right there. So
That warms my Midwestern and Southern heart both.
there you go.
I
Yeah,
have pulled up your website here, and
nice.
people really Lori really liked your comment about tortillas. Yes, everything tastes better with tortillas.
Yes,
And Cooking with Kirby says tacos are life. Well,
yeah,
we need to talk about tacos because you did a taco tour in
yeah.
2016, and the one that the top picture here, and I'm assuming that's your son, but maybe not.
Yep, yep, that's Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. Anyway, I actually ate at Mimi's when I was
Oh,
in
good,
Atumwa.
good.
Yes, when I went on the fam trip to Atumwa, and
Yeah,
Andy took us all to Mimi's Taqueria, and I was like, "Oh, we have to go here," and everybody
that's
was
right.
like, "All right."
That's right.
JJ
Yeah,
went here, so we have to eat here.
yeah,
So,
exactly. We call Atumwa the land of 10,000 tacos because there's so many taquerias there. One of Iowa's micropolitan cities. Uh, it's right in between that metropolitan and small town kind of density when it comes to population. But uh, there might be more taquerias in places like Des Moines and definitely St. Louis and places like that. But
uh-huh.
the taquerias are in such a concentrated area. You can probably hit 10 Mexican restaurants within a mile and a half of each other in Tumwa. So that's not a bad thing. If that's what you want to do for a day is eat nothing but tacos in a lot of different places, then like these micropolitan towns with a high population of Hispanic folks is probably where you want to go. And Atumwa was perfect for that.
Okay, Marty's Crew,
Yep.
Our Family Adventures loves
Mm-hmm.
tacos, so
There you go.
Atumwa is the place for you.
Oh yeah.
They also love eagle watching. Marty's Crew does, and right there on the Des Moines River with all those eagles. I think that just sounds, yeah. Marty's
There
Crew
you go.
just said it sounds like
Yeah.
heaven. So
Hit the
yeah,
nail on the head. Yeah. There you go. And go to Keokuk too. If you're going to do eagle watching, you might as well go hit that place up too. That's it's a very interesting Iowa town. It's one of the oldest and tons of
yeah.
history. If you're an artist or you love architecture, that is your bread and butter. It's obviously a town when you go to it that you say, well, this has seen better economic times. However, there's still a lot of stuff to do in that area. I love going to Southeast Iowa. That's one of my favorite places to go.
Yep. All right. So we just had the best thing ever for people who love Iowa movies. Marty's Crew said, sounds like heaven. Lori said, nope, it's Iowa.
Good job. Right on. Yeah, my favorite quote from Field of Dreams is actually, people will come to Iowa for reasons they cannot possibly fathom. So that's one of my favorite quotes from that movie.
We love that one too. Like I said, my dad grew up in Iowa. My mom grew up in Iowa, and I was there till I was 12. But yes, yep. So yeah, reasons you cannot possibly fathom. That is true. All right, back to my questions. Man, we're gonna run out of time. That's all right. I knew this was gonna happen. All right. I bet you've met some interesting people on your travels. Who is one person that sticks out that you will never forget?
Oh man! Other than you?
Other than me.
All right. Yeah, I knew it. Wow, that's a doozy. That we meet so many interesting people. Okay, so the first person that came to my head was it was a man that in Spencer, Ryan Oder. The thing is he, when you asked me that, he was the first one that came to my head because we do this thing called Scouting Ragbri every year. Actually, we'll be doing this will be our 6th year doing it, if things go well and everything. And we go to all the overnight towns. People who are listening who don't know what Ragbri is, it's a huge bicycle tour that starts in the western part of Iowa and always finishes in the eastern part of Iowa on the Mississippi River. And there's always 8 overnight towns where literally thousands of bicyclists will most traditionally camp overnight someplace. And we were going around this town called Spencer. It's in northwest Iowa. And he was showing me all the places, and I said, yeah, he was showing me like these wetlands where there's a trail and everything. And I said, this is really cool, Ryan. And then he said, you know what, JJ, it is really cool. And the thing is at the end of the day, we were sitting down having dinner. He's like, I gotta tell you, I just realized that I just seen my hometown in a different way, and that's when that's when we realized that it was kind of like we have like this, people ask us what our specialty is and everything like that, and it's, I think one of our biggest specialties is rediscovering your hometown, your area. People a lot of times when they live in these places that we visit, they don't go out and see it as much like we do, and they see it through our eyes, and they kind of get that civic pride back,
Totally.
or stronger. They have the civic pride, but they just want it stronger. So
speaking of pride,
yeah, there you go. Good job. And,
yeah, well timed.
And then that's kind of our thing. One of our phrases is our favorite destination is our next one. That's our motto, because that's people always ask us, where's your favorite place to go? And then I just started saying, the next place. That kind of got me out of, from picking a favorite child, basically.
Oh, of course. Of course. We have several comments in the chat. One is from Cooking with Kirby. He says, where I live, Mexican food is pretty common. If Jay ever travels to Southern California, I know some good spots. Have you been to Southern California in all your travels, Jay?
Oh, yeah. I haven't been in years, though. And by the way, San Diego, you just got invaded by Hawkeye fans. That was a great game.
Yeah.
So, oh, my gosh, I just realized something. One of the most interesting, it was a Greek couple who owned a pizza place for over 50 years in Sigourney, Iowa. And they were some of the funnest people I ever met, and strong, really thick Greek accents. I was doing a video about their homemade dough, and then his wife video bombs us with a raw breaded tenderloin and started saying, the best tenderloin, the best tenderloin, the best tenderloin. Those were some of the most interesting, funnest people I ever met. But getting back to Southern California, I couldn't, oh my gosh, if I did not mention George and Rosemary after this interview, I would have been like, we got to do this again because we got to get them on there.
Oh, George and Rosemary, shout out, babe.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest videos we've ever done. But yes, I'm sure you could tell us all sorts of great places in Southern California. Mm-hmm. We love the finer things in life, but guess what? I'm okay with a little bit of duct tape on the bar stool too, so that's all right. So I like to go, I like to go where the locals go. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we really do too. When Matt and I travel to our national parks, and we just put out our national park travel review for the year, Good. But every single one of those places we went, we asked a local, like when we checked into the hotel, where do the locals go? Yeah. Where, what diner do we need to eat in which little town around this national park or whatever. So yeah, I love those small places. RG Homestead is here. It's welcome. Good to see you. And so many great comments. The small uncommon restaurants are where the best food is. Have you found that as well too? Oh yeah. And and the thing is when you're going out and about, the bartenders and servers always can steer you in a great directions. A lot of times they have friends that work at other restaurants and things like that, and they want them to be getting support. They want them to be getting support too. And so, I've been on vacation where a server tells us about another restaurant. It's really, really great. So what do? I go back to the restaurant and say, hey, thanks. And
look, they got me back. So yeah.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. The Beer Belly Travelers are here. They like
Hey, all right.
microbreweries.
That's my kind of crew right there.
Yeah. They are my kind of crew too. Some of my best friends in the world. It's amazing the people you meet through social media, and they are one of the folks that we've met up with in the last few years. So
the Beer Belly folks need to go on our worst road trip, casing the state for the best sausage. We call it Iowa's worst road trip. But
I'm getting to that.
Yeah, we're gonna expand.
That's actually a question.
Yeah.
So I'll just skip to question number 6 and we'll come back. So question number 6 is on your Instagram account, which I'll pull up here in just a second. You posted that your New Year's resolution is to eat bratwurst on anything. I'm excited for this adventure. By the way, we've got some great wurst towns here in Missouri. So come on down and we'll meet you for some wurst.
Good.
But what is the plan for your next wurst meal?
Well, you know what? I can almost see the bottom of my freezer, which is not a good thing, which means we got to get back on the road to these.
Right.
So in Iowa alone, now we're going to be doing this throughout all of our travels. We call it the Iowa Gallivant, but now we're going all over the country. It's more of like a, I guess a Iowa family, an Iowa family traveling. So we're not really just sticking to Iowa, but in Iowa alone in the 70s, there was over 400 meat lockers. Now we're down to like almost 100. So
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So but I think history is on their side now, finally, because there's a lot of people who want to eat local. I always wanted to do a picture like that.
I love this picture.
Yeah. So, people want to eat local. They want to know their meat. They want to support small. They want to shop small and things like that. And we have this thing that we do a lot. We call #travel-local. You don't have to go far to actually travel. It goes back to rediscovering your own hometown and stuff like that. So if you want to know your meat, if you want to shop small and eat local, find a locker that may not be too far away from where you're at and just go see what they have. You won't be disappointed. You can see what we've been taking home. Yeah, Iowa's worst road trip has been great, and it's just so. It's the puns just come out. I love it when I say that's just delicious pun right there. So yeah.
Yes. Very fun. Beer Belly Traveler says, okay, enough to know I love him. Going to Insta now. Beer Belly Travelers are huge on Instagram, and I just dropped your link to Instagram into the chat. So we and they say so true. They live by the same mindset of shopping local and finding all the local places. So we do have a group here that loves local food and local travel and all that stuff. So yes, go check out JJ on Instagram. That is it's a great place to meet him. So
you get to take country without a passport too when you go to those lockers. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. We also have new folks in the room. The blended whiskey is here. Welcome. So now we have beer and whiskey. I told you we are big foodies here.
Yeah.
All right. Back to my questions here. What do you like best about travel/food writing? What's your favorite part of your job?
Well, you know what? The thing is favorite and unexpected. When we started this thing, it was a travel blog. And yeah, we do a travel blog, but here we are doing a video. That's one of the reasons why I call myself the chief explorer. I could call myself the chief blogger or things like that, which is fine. It's a great position to be in and everything like that. But we don't just do blogging. So my favorite thing about traveling is all the unexpected things that happen. I'm not like Clark W. Griswold when I go traveling, like when I'm on a schedule and everything like that. I do like fall over a lot every now and then, and we'll try to get a Christmas tree out of the ground with my bare hands. But that part of Clark W. Griswold I am. But the thing is we let the locals guide us, and that's been some of the greatest times in our travels. We've gotten some of the best views on our travel blog by things that we were just stopping to smell the roses, and then we just see this cool setting, write a quick story about it, and all of a sudden, kaboom, it does great. We are very food. We're very food heavy on our travel blog, but to this day, the most viewed blog post is the Pyramids of Iowa, which is in south central Iowa, Monroe County, near the unincorporated community of Avery. And it was just a guy back in the 1930s wanted to mimic the ones in Giza and be entombed in there, and they're in this tiny little cemetery literally out in the middle of the country. So, but he didn't get his dying wish because he's buried somewhere else. So if anybody's looking for a spot, there's a place in Iowa you can choose. So yeah. And people are like, they see that, they go click, 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 click. So yeah.
Oh, funny. Oh, wow. We now have ice cold water. It says can't have beer, whiskey without ice cold water. Well,
Oh, there you go.
Good morning.
Yes,
we're set now. We are set. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, that's really cool. I also know that you guys stayed in a covered wagon when we were in Medora. So when I all of a sudden, I came early. I was a new travel writer and new travel professional, I guess is what I'm calling us all now, because we're travel professionals. We don't just write. We don't just take pictures. We don't just do videos. We travel and we try to be professional and show stuff. So, and tell stuff. But I was sitting there in the conference room just talking to people, and I heard, yeah, I gotta go get JJ over to his covered wagon for the night. I went, okay, bye.
Yeah, we brought it up from Iowa City.
That's awesome. Staying covered.
No, it was actually it was awesome. I highly recommend it. There's actually like a Datsun, like an old Datsun pickup truck they have too. You can stay in. So
nice. That's just, I love places like that. That's just crazy and fun. All right. I got 2 questions left.
Sure,
we might go a little over. 1, what's the hardest part about being a travel professional?
Well, it's the hardest part is saying, okay, I just need to write, or I just need to edit, or I just need to do these photos. You know what I mean? It's like I have when you have free time, it's like you're in this conundrum, like, okay, I have 3 days or 4 days or even a week where I don't have anything travel going on. You get that itch, right? But then you have to sit back and say, hold on, you have a lot of other work to do on your travel blog. And so that's one of the things you got to do. It's like, free time is for traveling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, hey, you gotta do a lot of stuff on your actual website and things like that. And because I actually work full time at a junior high, so when the breaks come around is when we usually travel. But those are actually the times where I need to be writing and planning and scheduling and doing logistics. So yeah, that's probably the hardest part. But it's, hey, someone's got to do it.
Hey, right. Yeah, I understand. And that's what a lot of the people have answered, because I asked this question to all of our travel professionals. What's the hardest part of your job? And they all say, trying to get all the details in and get the job done. That's the hardest part, is getting the job done and all the things that we have to get done. So, my last question for you, and folks, if you have any questions for JJ, please put them in the chat quickly. All right. So, what is your dream destination or tour? If you had one thing you could do, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I would love to basically one things I've always wanted to do is start out in Lake Itasca, and go on the western side of the Mississippi all the way down to the Gulf, and then go right back up, but on the eastern part of the Mississippi. That's one thing I've always wanted to do. Stop in literally every single community you possibly go through. That would be a dream for me right there. On the Iowa Gallivant, I call Iowa's Mississippi coast, or excuse me, river, riverbanks, the mud belt. I don't know if we coined that phrase. I don't know if anybody else calls it that, but we call it the mud belt.
Okay.
And it's where I'm so drawn to it. It's amazing. And so it's that would be one of those uh, bucket list vacations or traveling. I would love to go to Vietnam. There is
Amazing food there.
oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I love the Vietnamese food in the United States. So imagine being in Hanoi or Saigon or some place like places like that. They have the Vietnamese flavors with French technique. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? So,
Right.
and yeah, so and I would love. I really want to visit more Civil War battlefields too.
Oh,
That's something I got to do more often. It's one of my. I'm a history buff and everything like that. So
sure.
we went to Gulf Shores, Alabama, in August,
Mm-hmm.
and the Civil War's northernmost battle was in Croton, Iowa, right across the Des Moines River. Some Missouri folks basically shot some cannons over or some shot.
Okay.
And
Sorry
then
about that.
yeah, it's all right. We're good. And then all the way down the Gulf Shores. Every couple hours, it seemed like, or every hour, especially when we got into Mississippi, there was a battlefield or a memorial and everything like that. I'm like, whoa, this is the road trip I want to take next. Is it kind of
Right. Oh,
stop at every single one of them?
I have a spot for you then. You have to go to the Battle of Pilot Knob down here in Missouri. We'll meet you there. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, there
Um,
you go.
but
Yeah.
so that's a good one. And then Matt and I actually spent Memorial Day, one or Memorial Day weekend actually at Shiloh National Battlefield down in Tennessee, and we got to have a Civil War gun cannon. That's on the channel. That was loud.
Yeah.
Slow-mo of a Civil War cannon is really interesting. Just saying. But yeah, Civil War battlefields are right up our alley too.
Tokyo Fish Market, the world's biggest fish market. That's the top of my bucket list. If I had like only an hour to spend in Japan, I would say take me to the Tokyo Fish Market. That would be it right there.
Italy and Japan are on Cooking with Kirby's wish list. So yeah, awesome. And then Marianne Donnelly and Our Haunted Travels, they're married. But yeah, Civil War battlefields are right up their alley too. So yeah.
Our Haunted Travels, go to the Kingsley in Fort Madison, and you can see our video on our Facebook page. It's our featured video of what we did in Fort Madison, one of Iowa's most haunted towns. So you would love not only the prison there, but we stayed at the Kingsley and we had some great interactions with a little girl named Hildy. You can't exactly see her, but she's there. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
They will love that. I'm sure that Marianne's typing it right now, going, "Okay, we're gonna look this up." So, and if you would like to contact, if you want to contact Panic D or Panic D, you want to contact Jay, his information is below, and they would love to have you share that story with them and put the place in the database. So, all right.
Hildy actually got a little upset. Because when we left, we said, before I left, I said, would you like us to bring a toy to you? And apparently from one of the workers there, she was wondering when the heck we were coming back. So she was getting a little mischievous in between our visits. And finally, one of the workers there said, here is this toy, and things kind of calmed down after that.
Oh, good. I'm glad they gave her a toy.
I went back. I gave her a toy after the next time we went in.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad. Beyond the Veil Investigations is here, and they probably would enjoy getting to know Hildy as well. So yeah, that is.
Let me know. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, we all have to road trip to Iowa, everybody. That's awesome.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I'm out of questions. And we're out of time. We're even over time. Thank you all so much for your time today, JJ. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're welcome. This was great. Thank you so much. Let's do it again. I loved this.
Oh, this would be great. Well, we'll schedule that. Let's finish the show out first. But we'll get this one done. And Happy New Year's to you and your family, and best wishes in 2020.
And I'll eat more vegetables. I promise. I know I'm on Iowa's worst road trip, but I'll eat more vegetables. I promise.
Kraut goes with worst. So there you go. if you'll hang out for just a second, I'll finish out the show, JJ.
All
Thanks.
right, sounds good.
All right, guys. If you haven't already, you need to go check out JJ's Instagram page, Facebook page, and the iowagallivant.com. And I would love it if you would mention that you saw him on Happy Trails hiking. That would be fantastic. The second thing I need you to do for me today is to come back and leave a comment here so that YouTube knows that this was a good show and that you loved it, because they don't know from all these comments that are here on the live show. I wish they did, but they don't. And hit the thumbs up and share this out with someone else who you think would like to learn more about JJ and Iowa and wurst and tacos and everything else that we've discussed today. And number 3, go out and live the life you love today. Have a fantabulous 2020. And remember, you are not replaceable. Thanks, everybody, and Happy New Year.